vecchia là che fa tutti i compleanni, una testa grande.
Allora, raga, vi trovate in live ora con Metal Gear Solid 3. Vediamo com'è questo Metal Gear Solid 3. E poi ci sarà la remastered del 3. Snake Eater, raga.
Sì, la prima volta sì, poi il resto l'ultima settimana. Che fa no, non ci vado più. È stata la pausa la principale, non solo del video per fare. Ce l'ho detto il marito, non mi ha detto ma cosa risolva a casa della Giulia.
Italiana, allora.
Ma come il Purma, ma come il nome di Gianni, mio fratello.
Allora, auguri a tutti in ritardo del 2024, però Snake Eater in HD 2012 è un gioco vecchino, però portarlo nel 2024 è una nuova novità.
Non ho fatto bianchi da mio.
Allora, nuovo gioco. Allora, mi piace.
Non la chiamare,
storia
non la chiamare proprio di niente.
Prima volta.
Bravo. Se viene da me che non ci sono.
After the end of World War II, the world was split into two, East and West. This marked the beginning of the era called the Cold War.
Raga, vi raccomando che questo titolo non è in... come si dice? Non è in... allora, questo gioco non è ambientato, dopo l'era del 2, poi uscito il 4 che ce l'ho.
Jack, I've got some important news. The head of the CIA has finally given us the green light for the virtuous mission.
Virtuous mission?
No, the virtuous mission. The future of our Fox unit depends on it. If it succeeds, we'll be officially organized into a unit.
Virtuous mission? Sounds like some kind of initiation ritual.
You know, don't get cocky. This isn't a training op.
Right. So what exactly is this wonderful mission?
Well, about 2 years ago, a certain Soviet scientist requested asylum in the West through one of our moles. His name is Nikolai Stepanovich Sokolov. He's head of the OKB-754 Design Bureau, one of the Soviets' top-secret weapon research facilities, and the East's foremost expert on weapons development.
Sokolov? Isn't he that famous rocket scientist?
The very same. On April 12, 1961, the Soviets achieved the first manned spaceflight in history.
The Earth was blue, but there was no God.
Well spoken. The rocket that carried Yuri Gagarin to orbit was the A-1, known as the Vostok rocket. Sokolov is said to be the man most responsible for the multi-engine cluster used in that rocket. After Gagarin's flight, Sokolov left rocket development to become the head of the newly established Design Bureau.
From a lowly technician to head of a design bureau, that's quite a success story, so why do you want to defect?
It seems he'd become afraid of his own creations.
Afraid?
Call it a crisis of conscience.
And for that, he left his country and his family behind and went over the fence?
Not exactly. One of his conditions was that his family was also to be taken safely to the West. We used a mole to get the family out first and succeeded in sneaking Sokolov over the Berlin Wall shortly afterwards. I was the one who conducted the operation.
The security on the eastern side was still full of holes back then. Then what?
We got Sokolov over in one piece, but the whole ordeal had left him exhausted, and we checked him into a hospital in West Berlin. It It took him 2 weeks and more than 600 miles to get from the research facility in the Soviet Union to Berlin. He was in no condition to say anything coherent. And it was only a week later that we had something much bigger on our hands.
The Cuban Missile Crisis.
October 16, 1962. President Kennedy received word that the Soviets were in the process of deploying intermediate-range ballistic missiles in Cuba. The President demanded that the Soviets dismantle and remove the missiles. At the same time, he announced a naval blockade to prevent further missile shipments from reaching Cuba. But the Soviets didn't back down, instead placing their armed forces on secondary alert. Soviet transport ships carrying missiles continued on course towards Cuba. US and Soviet forces went on alert for an all-out nuclear war. Frantic negotiations were conducted through the UN's Emergency Security Council and unofficial channels to end the hair-trigger standoff. Finally, on October the 28th, the Soviet Union agreed to remove its missiles from Cuba. And so the world avoided a nuclear holocaust. But in order to get the Soviets to pull their missiles out, we had to make a deal.
You mean the one where the US agreed to remove its IRBMs from Turkey?
No. The Jupiter IRBMs deployed in Turkey were obsolete, and we were going to get rid of them anyway. They had no strategic value whatsoever to either the US or the Russians. The Turkey deal was a ruse, a cover story that was fed to the other intelligence agencies around the world.
So what did the Russians really want?
Sokolov. They wanted us to return Sokolov.
You mean the Soviets pulled out of Cuba just to get their hands on Sokolov?
That's right.
What the hell was he working on?
At the time, we had no idea. We were running out of time. It was either give up Sokolov or risk full-scale nuclear war. In the end, we had no choice. President Kennedy gave in to Khrushchev's demand. The next day, I got Sokolov out of the hospital, handed him over to agents on the eastern side. Sokolov kept on screaming, "Save me," until he disappeared from my sight. Then, a month ago, we received some new information from one of our moles.
About Sokolov?
Yes. He was taken back to the research facility and forced to continue working on the weapon in question under KGB supervision. What's more, it's on the verge of completion.
So what kind of weapon is it? Something to do with space rockets?
No, missiles.
Same technology.
I guess you're right. We don't know the details, but it appears to be a new kind of nuclear device. For half a year now, the Soviets have been conducting frequent nuclear tests at Semipalatinsk.
Something to do with the weapon, I assume.
We're talking about a secret weapon so big that Khrushchev was ready to pull out of Cuba to get it back.
Is Sokolov still in the facility?
No. According to our intelligence, he's in Selinoyarsk, a place in the mountains about 3 miles to the west that's known as the Virgin Cliffs.
The Virgin Cliffs. Nice name for a virtuous mission.
They moved him there just recently.
Why?
Apparently, they're conducting a field test of the weapon, but it's our best chance to get him back. This mission would never have been possible if he was still in the research facility. This is our last chance. Sokolov must have known that too when he contacted us. To infiltrate Selinoyarsk in the Soviet mountains, ensure the safety of Sokolov, and bring him back to the west. If we don't get Sokolov back before that weapon is complete, we'll be facing a major crisis. The clock is ticking. Once we've confirmed the rescue of Sokolov, stand by at the recovery point. A recovery balloon will be dropped at that point. Helium will be pumped into the balloon to inflate it. The process takes about 20 minutes. Once it's complete, the gunship's arm will latch onto the balloon and pull it up.
The Fulton surface-to-air recovery system. I'm familiar.
Scusate un attimo, raga. Sono Snake.
Do you copy? You're already in enemy territory, and somebody might be listening in. From here on out, we'll be using code names to refer to each other. Your code name for this mission will be Naked Snake. I'll be referring to you as Snake from now on. You're not to mention your real name.
Snake?
Oh, you don't like snakes?
What do you mean?
You've eaten one before, haven't you?
In survival training.
I'm glad to hear that.
I don't know if I'd ever order one in a restaurant, but...
Be careful, you might not have a choice.
What about you, Major? What should I call you?
Let's see. I'll be Tom. Call me Major Tom. This will be a sneaking mission. You must not be seen by the enemy. You must leave no trace of your presence. Is that clear? This kind of infiltration is the Fox unit's speciality. In other words, weapons and equipment are procured on site. That goes for food as well. You're completely naked, just...
Aspetta, vedi, forse cross.
No.
Non lo so. Vedi chi è prima.
Pronto? A te?
No? Ciao Sepp Killer. Grazie per il like che mi hai messo. Comunque buon anno in ritardo. Perché sono arrivato ora a fare la live, sono arrivato ora col pullman. Allora andiamo di qua.
Snake, where do you think you're going? You can't expect to proceed with the...
Però c'è il problema mio che io devo ora quella. Oh cavolo, devo fare sperare. Pistola no, pistola no. Prego, 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 raga, prego. Allora. Beviamo di qua. Questo di qua.
I see you've retrieved your backpack, Snake.
Snake, try to remember some of the basics of CQC.
Commencing virtuous mission now.
Questa era con la materia nel sud, diciamo, no, vediamo questa cosa.
Major, I've spotted 2 enemy soldiers.
They're probably KGB troops sent to guard Sokolov.
AK-47s and grenades.
Attaccano con scaricabatterie.
Snake, your presence in Soviet territory is already a violation of international law. You can't let the Kremlin find out that the CIA and the American government are involved. Contact with the enemy is strictly prohibited. Don't engage them in battle either. This is a stealth mission. Got that?
The Major is right. The point of this mission is to sneak through the jungle without being seen. The success of the mission depends on how well you use your camouflage. Change your camouflage by selecting Camouflage from the Survival Viewer. The Uniform option lets you pick your uniform, while the Face option lets you change...
Huh? Who's that? What the? Please respond. Acknowledged. Sending reinforcements.
HQ.
This is HQ.
Patrol here. We've lost sight of the intruder, going into high alert.
Acknowledged. The enemy is still nearby. Pursue and engage him.
Who's that? What the? Radio, we need backup.
Guarda, mi sembra tanto.
Ma,
Sì,
e come fai?
sì.
Who's that?
Radio.
This is HQ.
Enemy sighted.
Major, I've reached the abandoned factory where Sokolov is supposedly being held. This place is a dump. I can't see Sokolov from here. The security is pretty tight. There are sentries posted around the perimeter. I wonder how many are inside.
Your objective, Sokolov, is inside the factory. They should be holding him in a room.
Who's that?
What's wrong? Radio, get out of the back.
una volta da accompagnante.
This is HQ. Sending reinforcements.
What's wrong?
Back here.
sight of the enemy. Commence alert formation.
Acknowledged. The enemy is still nearby. Pursue and engage him.
Drums lying on their side can be sent rolling. Time it right and you might be able to use it to bowl over multiple enemies at once. Give it a try. Stand near a drum and press the action button.
Who's that? What happened?
This is HQ.
Patrol here. Enemy sighted. Commencing attack.
Acknowledged. Eliminate all enemies.
Major, I'm in front of Sokolov's cell. The door won't open.
Hold on, Snake. What's the current condition?
HQ.
This is HQ.
Patrol here. We've lost sight of the enemy. Commence alert formation.
No, John.
Acknowledged. The enemy is still nearby. Pursue and engage him.
You must be Sokolov.
Are you one of Volgin's men? You'll never get it from me.
No. I'm a CIA agent. I've come to escort you back to the other side of the Iron Curtain.
You're CIA?
Yeah. I was sent by Major Zero, the man who got you out 2 years ago.
Zero?
I have a message from him.
What is it?
He said to tell you sorry for being so late.
Did he now?
What does it mean?
It means he's a man of his word. But we've got no time for this. You have to get me out of here before they arrive.
Who's they?
Colonel Volgin of Gru. You in the West know him as Thunderbolt.
Thunderbolt? Never heard of him.
He's a member of the Army's extremist faction, a man who seeks to seize control of the motherland. Ever since the Cuban Missile Crisis 2 years ago, Khrushchev has been pursuing a policy of peaceful coexistence with the West. Despite resistance and criticism from hawks in the army and the provincial authorities, Khrushchev has managed to suppress the opposition so far. But the failure of his agricultural policies has put him in a precarious position. And on top of that, the tragedy last November.
President Kennedy's assassination.
Precisely. In a sense, Khrushchev has lost his biggest partner, and his power base is rapidly crumbling away. A certain group is plotting to use this opportunity to seize power by rallying the anti-government forces, overthrowing Khrushchev, and installing Brezhnev and Kosygin in his place. The mastermind behind this plot is Colonel Volgin of the GRU. He has control over another secret weapons research facility much like this one, OKB-812, known as the Granin Design Bureau, and is using it to further his plans. But that is not enough to satisfy him. Now he's plotting to seize the secret weapon I have been developing here and use it as leverage in his bid for power. The intelligence says that they are going to make their move during the test.
Then, the soldiers outside.
Exactly. They wouldn't need that many men just to keep me inside. Their orders were to prevent Colonel Volgin from capturing me. Even if it meant killing me in the process, or so it would seem. Volgin will come. I'm sure of it. You must get me out of here before then.
Leave it to me.
By the way, your Russian is superb. Where did you learn to speak it?
From my mentor.
Is that so? America's truly a frightening country.
Having second thoughts.
No. I have no love for this place. Let's go.
Major, this is...
Dobbiamo portare un attimo in salvo lui. Vediamo una cosa che poi ci salutiamo qua e ritorniamo più tardi, ragazzi. Vediamo come va la situazione con lui.
Freeze!
So this is the legendary boss. Huh? We meet at last.
You're from the Ocelot unit of Spetsnaz.
Huh.
What's a Gru soldier doing here?
Soldier?
He's the Ocelot commander.
That's Major Ocelot to you. Don't you forget it.
Sokolov is ours. Now get out of here.
And Ocelot never lets his prey escape.
What?
I can't say it feels good to kill a comrade, even if it is for the Gru.
Sokolov, take cover. Major, do you read me?
I read.
Saving the game, Snake? Okay. Do you want to save?
Allora, raga, noi ci salutiamo qua.
Hey, Snake, you ever heard of Godzilla, King of Monsters?
Ci becchiamo più tardi in un'altra live. Questo è il prologo, diciamo, della storia in trama di Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. Allora, noi ci vediamo più tardi con un'altra live. Vi saluto e buon proseguimento di serata, raga.